Scandinavia is one of the richest parts of the world, with almost no unemployment, a low crime rate, and everything is clean and nice, and everybody is happy in their pretty little houses. But underneath this perfect surface lies a monster, a beast. Sometimes the beast wakes up and shows its face to the world. The name of the beast is black metal. To understand why the Scandinavian black metal scene is so special and literally exploded in the 90s, we have to go back more than 1,000 years to a time when the Vikings ruled the north before Christianity was enforced upon the Scandinavian people.
I think it's really important to remember the evil and brutality that the Christians actually, the way they did here in Scandinavia. Especially in Norway, they slaughtered thousands of people and oppressed them and stole their children.
They converted the Vikings to the religion Christianity. They came up here and forced us to believe in that shit. And they forced us with violence.
Forced snakes down people's throats, so they were and so many crazy things to get people to be Christians, you know. So it's just like pure brutality because of the kings. They wanted to sleep with the Pope in Europe to get more power. So then they enforced the Christianity on the normal people up here, you know.
And we have a great history and our mythology. We are not Christians from the start. And Thor and Odin is great gods, and it's much great in the history if you read about it. It's very black metal.
They were more personal in the way that they had contact when it comes to to put it into black metal. It has something to do with the nature, your blood, the feeling around you. I think especially in Scandinavia, especially in Norway, because it's really. You have the dark, it's forest, it's water, it's hard, you know, and you get you really feel it in your body when you're in contact with it if you do it the right way. You have to put your hands in the ground and feel the nature where you come from. And then when you read Northern mythology, you really god damn, you know? Those people, they weren't so bad. They had a really good idea about what respect is, honor, especially self-respect. Everybody think they were just running around killing and raping and being fucking idiots all the time, but they did that when it was necessary. Of course, they would pillage some monks and blah 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 and stuff like that. But they had, when it came to like the normal people, they were like, if you respect me, I will respect you. If you don't respect me, I don't respect you. Of what life is. But to explain it is like, it's massive, you know, and it takes really long time. But that's why I think it has something to do with, especially for me personally in black metal. It's they're so more personal gods. And of course you don't believe in them in the sense, but you believe in the spirit of them, you know, like the heritage of them. I don't walk around and believe anything because I'm atheist to the bone. But I see things sometimes that I like, and it gives me a good vibe, you know, vibration and feeling.
The Vikings were seafaring traders, warriors, and pirates who raided and colonized wide areas of Europe from the 9th to the 11th century. They were known for being brutal on their crusades. The Viking mythology was based on their own beliefs, their own gods like Thor, the god of thunder, and Odin, the warrior god.
I don't know if you say the same thing in English, but in Norway we call it the polytheistic or poly, which means many gods. You have like Jehovah and crap from the Jews, it's like mono. So you have one god that controls absolutely everything. But when it comes to like Northern mythology, I think a lot of us feel more... It fits like the Scandinavian people better, I think.
Heathen mythology is a big part of black metal. So are the symbols. The early days of black metal mainly consisted of upside-down crosses, goats' heads, and pentagrams.
White witches, so to speak, they have it where the point is turning up to eternity, heaven, whatever. This one turns down to me. I am eternity. I am my own god. So that's what it represents for me. And the other ones are east, west, north, south. But the main thing is that instead of pointing up, you're supposed to turn to heaven and pray to the god. It points to me.
Today we see more and more symbols from the Viking and heathen era, like the hammer of Thor.
It's a symbol of a forgotten past, you know, like the Norwegian who walks in the street, you know, like they know as much as, you know, like they know nothing, you know, and these symbols are often, I think, when you go with these, you know, like people like, oh, Nazi fuck, and you know, like Hitler and all those guys use this stuff for that, you know, like for the power, and yeah, but I don't care, you know, it wasn't theirs in the first place, so people must see behind that, you know, like it was there 1,000 years before that, so I can't really stand for what the fucking guy did 60 years ago, you know, like he doesn't own these symbols, and so for me it stands for power and nothing else, and history. So I don't, because of course I don't believe in there is a god up in the sky who cracks his hammer and it's, you know, it's not that.
1,000 years later, many names, places, and stories from the old Viking mythology can be found within the black metal scene, both as band names, members, and in lyrics. You can even hear old Viking tunes in some black metal.
I think that lots of the Norwegian bands have inspirations from folk music, you know, like they have the elements of folk music. And that's ideal to make great black metal, you know. So Norwegian folk music or Swedish, or have these dancing notes, you know, like down to the lyrics, and that's great for making good black metal.
When we are writing about this Nordic mythology, we don't mean it like the religion, we mean it like the way the Vikings chose to live their lives.
The heathen mythology and anti-Christian beliefs are not the only things that have inspired the black metal scene, but also the nature and the climate.
When you live up here, it's dark a lot of the time, it's cold, you've got big mountains, the fjords, everything is completely different. And I guess if I was living on a beach in Florida, it's hard to get so negative, I guess, lying there on the beach having a drink. You have to be really bitter to have you get depressed there.
It influences you.
Like in Bergen,
Like
it's raining all the time. Of course, you don't can be happy all the time. It's raining all
Like in
day,
California.
like every day, you know. Then here in Sweden we have, like she said, we have 3 months with summer. The rest of the year we have winter or fall. Or
Coldness, darkness. I think that affects us. Yeah.
it fits, or it sounds like black metal, you know.
The Nordic climate is very dark and it's cold, and that's a part of our music too.
It's important also to see more like the Scandinavian metal as a whole that differs more from like American black metal or German black metal, many of those bands again. I think that there's a lot of comparison, even if there's something different between Swedish and Norwegian and maybe Finnish bands, but they have more in common than a lot of like American black metal bands.
I think also if you go out and play in the States or Europe, you can see that the audience in Germany and Holland, and they have a very utmost respect for the Scandinavian bands. I think they have some kind of major position in the black metal or extreme metal scene in Europe, and also it's kind of exotic when we come to the States and play and people are going bananas. And so I think we've got, I don't know, the reputation of the Scandinavian music extreme metal scene is helping us a lot of doing the touring and all the festivals and stuff. It's quality, more or less.
People always talk about the soul and atmosphere in old black metal, and you can really hear that because in new bands they don't have it. You really like when you listen to like A Blaze in the Northern Sky or Dark Medieval Times, or maybe even like Battles in the North with Immortal, though it's really more rock and roll type of black metal, I think. But you feel like, or definitely Emperor, in the Nightside Eclipse, you get like, it's almost like you are like in this at night, like in the woods, and like really getting the feeling of nature. It's like something really primitive about that. So I think like it's, if you take you have Northern mythology, you had the Satanism, you had getting away from the masses of the world, you know, like everybody follows a flock, they're in the sheep flock, they go to work, they drive the car, they're standing in queue, like, you know, they pay their taxes, and then when you're like 66, you are supposed to, like, then you can rest, you know, now you can die. So you wanted to get away from that, the whole fucking thing with social democracy, where everybody's the same and everybody loves each other all the time. And you went like into the forest, you had to leave, you know, so you went like into the thing where like, where do I come from, what am I? And then you really, that's why people don't make good black metal anymore like they did in the old days. They don't have like the really primitive type of, it's really special, it's like a philosophy that I can't explain.
The Viking era and their heathen mythology ended when Christianity was forced upon the Scandinavian people back in the 11th century. 1,000 years later, the heathen gods would return in a new shape to get their revenge on Christianity.
So Bathory, of course, is a great inspiration. He has created great music for so many years, you know. So he is absolutely one of my inspirations. So.
Of course, it's in Sweden out of black metal. Bathory, you know, is like probably one of the best black metal bands.
When I listen to the music of Bathory, I get this special feeling.
Bathory, formed in Stockholm, Sweden in 1983 by the then 17-year-old Quorthon. Quorthon is considered by many to be one of the most important persons in the creation of the genre black metal. Although Venom's album Black Metal was the first record to coin the term, it was Bathory's early albums, featuring satanic lyrics and a brutal vocal style, that gave life to the beast and a new genre was born, black metal. Bathory was to inspire many Norwegian bands which extended black metal in the deepest abyss in the beginning of the 90s. The later era of Bathory, Quorthon's musical concept changes direction from the satanic side and adopted the legacy of his forefathers, the Vikings, and their mythology. Quorthon died in 2004 from heart failure.
Venom and Hellhammer and Bathory did something very important when they started out. They started out very far away from the heart of black metal. And I still think that no one has really been able to touch the thing that gave life to black metal in the first place. Because it takes so much. It takes intense study, and it takes far more than being passionate about the music form to approach that dangerous and abominable thing that gave birth to black metal.
But when black metal really started to take the course towards its darkest side was when Swedish guy Purring Olin, alias Dead, joined Mayhem in 1988. Before Dead joined Mayhem, he was the singer in the Swedish cult band Morbid. A few weeks after Dead had joined Mayhem, Hellhammer also joined. Together with Austin Arseth, alias Euronymous, who founded Mayhem in 1984, the three lived in an old house outside Oslo. It soon became clear that Dead had some strange behaviors. He buried some of his clothes for months in the earth and brought them to the Mayhem shows where he wore the rotting clothes. During one tour with Mayhem, he found a dead raven, which he collected and stored in a plastic bag. He would often smell the bag before he went on stage, saying he needed to inhale the smell of death. Mayhem, with the new members and Dead's fascination for death, the atmosphere of music changed drastically. After some live gigs, Mayhem started to work on their first full-length album, De Mysteriis Dom Satanas, though by the time of its eventual release, the two cornerstone members would not be alive. Shy, calm, depressive, weird, but also a nice person. That's how many describe Dead. He hardly had contact with humans, and he once said that he was not a human and that he did not belong on this earth. He knew that he would die soon. Dead wanted to play in his homeland Sweden, but it would never happen. On April 8, 1991, Dead killed himself at 21 years old. He first cut open his veins and then blew his head off. When Euronymous later arrived at the house and discovered Dead's body, he ran to the first shop he could find and bought a camera. He went back to the house and took pictures of Dead's body. One of the pictures ended up as the record cover on the Dawn of the Black Hearts album. Rumor has it that Euronymous had taken pieces of Dead's brain to eat it. However, Euronymous later said that he had not actually eaten any part of Dead's body, though he had intended to. Euronymous also claimed to have collected fragments of Dead's skull and sent some pieces to those he felt worthy. Amongst those rumored to be in possession of such pieces are the members of Swedish black metal bands Marduk and Abruptum. Dead's suicide affected Necro Butcher so much that he took a break from Mayhem. In Dead's and Necro Butcher's absence, Attila now handled the vocals, and Burzum man Varg Vikernes alias Count Grishnak took over the bass position in Mayhem. Varg Vikernes started the band Burzum in 1991. Burzum was mainly a one-man project and has played a key role in musical development of black metal. But Vikernes was soon to become notorious for other acts within the black metal scene. He was one of the first to take the ideologies of black metal from words into action and to declare war against Christianity.
1992. The Fantovstave Church, one of Norway's architectural treasures, dating from the 12th century, was burned to the ground. And throughout the years, more than 80 churches in Scandinavia have ended up in ashes. Vikernes was found guilty of several of these cases, and many more were directly connected to the black metal scene. Vikernes has stated that he was motivated by pagan ideology when performing these acts. Another reason for burning churches was to push back Christianity. Varg once said that his next album release would come with a lighter to inspire church burnings.
I don't know what fucking happened, you know? It just exploded. If it wasn't for the church burnings and that stuff, black metal wouldn't be so big either, so...
They can do whatever they want. I don't give a fuck if they burn down this fucking church.
Is that it's an uproar against Christianity in Norway, and Norway was forced to become a Christian country 1,000 years ago, and this was a statement that they wanted to take Norway back and get rid of Christianity. I guess that's their statement they've seen the most, but it would be wrong for me to tell what was their intention anyway.
I completely respect what these people did, definitely, as acts of their own will. But to speak of church burning as a way to defeat Christianity, I mean, the only Christianity they defeated was the last piece of Christianity within themselves. No, which is a very good beginning, of course, but it was acts that were important mostly for the people that did it, and it may have served as inspirations for others, but it doesn't reach further than that. I mean, you cannot say that the war against Christianity was started by burning down a church.
We are not really Satanists. We just hate religion in all forms. That's why we did it. It was not really a big deal. We just took some gas, walked over to the church, and yeah, then we broke in the church, just kicked in the door, then we poured like gas, petrol, all over the place. And then we just took up a lighter and put fire on the gas, petrol and everything, and got out from the church. We ran up to the forest, and watched the church burn down to the ground. Then the police and the firemen came after about 15 minutes, but then it was too late. The church has already burned down to the ground. There's nothing left, just ashes. Yeah, that's about it. No big deal. It's like pretty cool actually. And I promise you will see more anti-Christian activities in the near future.
It would mean, if it happens in the black metal context, that people have started to write music again, that music that was able to manipulate the will of people or to lead people into action. And that in turn would mean that the forces that are evoked through black metal would have manifested on this earth. And that is, of course, very good thing, because it means that they were evoked with true devotion and with true passion, which is two of the most important things from writing this kind of music.
Grave desecration was the next morbid act in the sign of black metal. On one occasion, one member from a Swedish black metal band was sent to jail for desecration of more than 200 graves. For a couple of years in the mid-90s, grave desecration happened in several places in Scandinavia. The Norwegian black metal band, Svarid, drew the media's full attention after a former member broke into a chapel and opened up coffins.
But it was not a Satanist act, you know, like the other guys who went in the chapel with him, it was rap, hip-hop heads, you know, like, so it was just a freaky thing.
They cut off the head of a dead man and brought the head to a party.
It was a bet, I think. It was challenged, like a dare, you know, like you don't dare to do this. And he just, yes, I do.
Yeah, we just like pulled up the cross from the ground and just thrown it away. Then after that we just went wild on the cemetery and kicked down the headstones and stuff like that. Threw stones at windows in the church. And I think it was also pretty good act. I think it was it was on the news and in the papers, and that's very good, because then hopefully people will wake up from the Christian hypnosis and realize that they have been living in a lie all their lives. Now, yes, as I told you, you will see more of this in the future. We will never give up the fight to defeat Christianity and their stinking religion, because religion sucks. Religion only creates war. Just look at all the countries in the Middle East and stuff like that. They're killing each other because of religion. That's, we think, bad. That's why it has to be defeated all over our planet.
Vad var det som hände? Inte en aning. Vad fan är han?
Jag tror jag har hans nummer.
Ska vi ringa?
Ja, kanske ringa. Ja, så bra. Nej, jag knappt på marknaden. Nej. Bra. Olle? Ja. Vad är det där du är? Vad är det som händer? Jag har ingen aning. Vad försvinner? Det är helt sjukt. Vad fan tog du vägen? Jag vet inte vad som hände. Det small till. Jag hade 2 smällar. Sen var snurren borta. Du gick ju där. Och sen var du bara helt borta. Jag vet inte vad som hände. Det slocknade bara. Det blev svart. Ja, det är riktigt läskigt nu. Ja. Jag vill dra. Ja, skojar, vi skiter i det här nu. Ja, vi skiter i det här. Helt klart. Jag kör ut en rygg på oss här.
I will always fight them all the time. I will never ever bow down to those people, never, ever. They're like the biggest destructive force that has ever been in the world. When I see them, they scare the living shit out of me sometimes. You know, when you see like those, when they have their meetings, you know, they speak in tongues, as they say. They're fucking crazy, you know, like they cut off the genitalia of the children in many parts of the Islam world. Christian people, they always killed like homosexual people just because, like, if you're a grown person, you want to fuck a man, you know, as long as you don't do it with me. I don't understand, like, they control the sexuality, they controlled people's economy, you know. Still, it's like, I can't die, you know, anymore. Even I have to be buried in a church, but they call it like an atheist burial, you know. And I have to be buried in a holy ground cemetery. When you have to be baptized, you know, like every like major event in people's life, they still control. That's why they have like, every time it's a tragedy in Norway, like if you see a ferry go down and 13 people die, there's a fucking priest there. What is that priest doing there, you know? Maybe half of those people don't even believe in God. I mean, what is it? 80% of the people in Norway do not like believe in the Christian God, but they're like a member of the church in Norway, because that's what you're born. You become a member, you know what I mean? That's like, you don't choose that when you're like 2 months old. That's something that people do for you. And then you have a priest saying like, we have to, the mercy of God, He works in mysterious ways. I think it's absolutely disgusting. It's so, yes, that's what really pisses me off when it comes to, that's a major drive for me when it comes to, that's why I really like fell in love with like the black metal thing. I heard people say like the same thing that I feel, you know, like when I was back in 93 or 94, I remember I heard like Pure Holocaust with Immortal and stuff, and then that's fucking insane. This is like that's like the meanest thing. This is meaner than Metallica and Slayer and Maiden and everybody at the same time, you know. And then you had like the sense, like this is like you feel so like a slave in society. You want to break free, and that's when I like saw black metal. It was freedom to be whatever the fuck I wanted. Nobody could tell me anything.
Religion to me is a very negative word. Religion to me is you have to do this, you have to do this. If you don't do that, you're gonna go burn in hell, and you have to be in church on Sunday, believe in it or not, but you have to show yourself in church. That's religion to me.
People, like I said, they like to have something to lean back on, and they like to be led, because people, like I said, they cannot really handle freedom in that sense. And I mean, if I would be born in a prison, if I would be born in a prison pretty much unaware of what freedom was like, then I would not consider my prison guards as enemies. I would see them as the people who showed me what to do, and the people that were actually in charge, and I would probably pay respect to them. Yeah. And that, I think, is exactly what people do when they pray to their gods, and when they build their churches, they do it in honor of their people who are guarding their prison, and to the people that give them food, and the people that put up the rules that they are supposed to live by. And it's a comfortable life for them. You know? And it's easy to have someone it's nice to have someone to blame when something goes wrong.
Christian people are like, they are the bad people, not Satanists, because they sit there and they can be so mean, and they can kill in the name of the Lord. But if you do it in the name of God, it's okay, right? I do not go out and kill people in the name of Satan, because it's not right to kill people. You don't do that. But if it's in the name of God, sure, go ahead. God will protect us because we're doing it in His name. And that is, to me, it's like you go to church on Sunday and you ask God to forgive you for your sins, and of course the priest says, "Oh, you have been forgiven." And then you go home and you act like an asshole and you're mean to your kids and you beat up your wife. Doesn't matter, because Sunday coming, and next Sunday you go to church and you ask God to forgive your sins, and please forgive me for beating up my wife and hitting my kids, and God forgives you, and then you go home and for next week you're an asshole again.
To be a Satanist means to live in constant opposition and to live my life as a wolf rather than as a sheep. To constantly be hungry instead of being satisfied after just one single bite. To always be on the hunt and to always aim to transcend the barriers that are in front of you, the barriers that human life presents, I mean, at all times, because the human nature is built in such a way that people aren't really they're not really capable of handling true freedom.
And if you look at a lot of the bad stuff that happens in the world, why does it happen? Because of religions. These people are Muslims and these people are something else, so they go out and kill each other because both of them think each one is right.
All religion is shit. It's bullshit. I get so fucking pissed off. Because they all follow a fucking book with rules. And I think one thing that really pisses me off is when people are killing in the religion, in the name of religion, and they are blaming it on fucking holy war. We can kill him, we can rape her, we can do whatever we want. I hate it so much that I can't explain it in words. I can't. I do not support religion. I will never be supporting religion.
It echoes in the wind of days. The wind disagrees. For fires are slow. For you to die in this mighty burden. To calm before the storm.
People I know lived in Florida by the time the Hurricane Andrew was coming, and they were telling everyone to leave. And they decided to pray to God for protection. And after they prayed, they sat at home because God was protecting them. And bang, here comes Andrew and blew everything off the whole south of Florida. They had 2 kids, both kids died. And they wouldn't have died if they would have left, because they wouldn't have been in the house, but the kids, both of them, died. And then they sat and said that it was the will of God, so they are now in God's hands. And everyone is fine with it because it's what God wanted. And to me that's like so dumb. You can't sit around on your butt because you prayed to God and then expect everything to be okay. Same thing, my daughter that died. It was the will of the Lord. And she's better off now because she's in God's hands. I would be much better off if she was still alive. So, to me, all that is it's just get a life. Reality is not like that. You can't sit around and expect a God to take care of you. You have to take care of yourself.
Satanism is like I left church about 15 years ago, and I read the Anton LaVey's Black Bible, and I found like that's sort of a way. Yeah.
That's the way of life.
Yeah.
Like Christian thinks that the comic book Bible is the way of life. It's like Donald Duck for us.
We don't have a book. Do you understand? We do have a very strong foundation, which is inverted Christianity, or inverted Judaism. And to do this is not an easy task. You come from one comes from different kinds of backgrounds, and one basically has to believe very strongly in that it is right to kill, it is right to steal, it's right to do all these wicked deeds. And then when you realize that you do it for a higher power, that is when you are a devil worshipper. When you actually believe that you're a slave under a higher power, which is of evil, and that you do it that you do certain deeds in this way, only then have you understood that you're a seeing person, a seeing devil worshipper. There's lots of devil worshippers out there, but they don't see what they're doing. They don't understand it.
Renovation in the burning breath, roasting bread. Kiss the rods, great to survive. Run to the bridge, tear off hands. Time for a moon and a shake crow. For the reconquest. Why the daylight's night is waiting. Not true and no, it's just driving. Why the daylight's night is
In August 1992, Faust, the drummer of black metal band Emperor, was just walking around in the forest in Lillehammer, Norway, when a totally unknown man came up to him and proposed that they should go further into the forest and have sex. Faust walked with him a bit and then stabbed him with a knife more than 30 times. The man died and Faust went to jail. Another member from Emperor, guitarist Samuth, went to jail for church burning. A while later, another member served time in prison for grave desecration. Euronymous is by many considered to be the grandfather of black metal. Not only did he start Mayhem, but also started one of the first black metal record labels, Deathlike Silence Productions. His label released albums from Enslaved, Abruptum, and Merciless from Sweden, Sig from Japan, and Burzum, Varg Vikernes band. Euronymous and Varg became friends, and Varg played session bass in Mayhem. When Euronymous was to release Burzum's first album, his label didn't have any money, so he had to borrow money from Varg. This was when the problem started to arise between them. Their friendship got worse and worse, and rumors started to circulate that Euronymous had a plan to murder Vikernes. Varg got a message from Euronymous that he wanted to meet and discuss a contract. The same night, Varg and a friend, Snore, drove from Bergen to Oslo. The drive takes about 7 hours, and they arrived at Euronymous' place around 3 in the morning. Euronymous lived on the 5th floor. While Snore had a smoke outside, Varg went up to the flat and rang the doorbell. Euronymous was asleep, but woke up and opened the door. Varg handed him the contract, but something went wrong. Suddenly, blades were flashing, and Varg was chasing Euronymous down the stairwell with a knife, stabbing him in the back. Euronymous fell, and Varg stabbed him in the forehead. He died instantly with the knife still stuck in his head. Varg almost got away with the murder, but was later arrested for manslaughter and church burning. He is currently serving a 21-year sentence at a maximum security prison in Tromsø, Norway. There is much speculation regarding the motive for the murder, but Vikernes has stated that he acted in self-defense. Black metal was now taken in a different direction. Some bands went more towards the Viking metal and epic style, while some bands went deeper into the abyss. In 1997, John Nordveit, the vocalist in the Swedish black metal band Dissection, was sent to jail for assisting in the murder of a homosexual man in Gothenburg. As John was a Satanist and played in a black metal band, the event got big headlines in the papers. When John was released from prison in 2004, he started up Dissection again, but now with a new lineup. In August 2006, John was found dead in his apartment in Stockholm. He took his own life in the name of Satan. Another notorious Swedish Satanist in the black metal scene is called It, because he is too evil to have a human name. It played in the band Abruptum, who got a record deal with Euronymous' label, Deathlike Silent Productions, back in the mid-90s. It was one of the leaders within what was called the Satanic Black Circle, part of the Swedish black metal scene. As all genres have subgenres, so does black metal. Viking metal, National Socialistic black metal, troll metal, and Christian black metal.
I get sweaty when I think about it. I don't understand it. It's...
No.
Well, it's not. I don't think I can say anything much about that. It's just totally fucked up beyond recognition.
Christian black metal? Nothing to... Fuck off! It's nothing... No. Christian black metal.
It's like to have Pol Pot like Santa Claus. It's I don't know what they think about. Do you want Pol Pot like Santa Claus to use chili?
When I heard this word for the first time, Christian black metal, I was speechless. I was thinking, okay, are they evil Christians, or are they like Christians who want to be evil, or is it, what is this?
It's just, yeah, it must be so embarrassing, I don't know. So embarrassing to, I wonder what they think, you know, I wonder how they feel when they go to bed at night and thinking that, you know, once again Christianity had to use the devil in order to spread their message. You But I don't know. It's always nice to see that no one can escape Satan when he looks for you. You know? He even got them, and they are standing like, you know, frustrated zealots, like schizophrenics trying to kiss children with machine guns. You know? It's fun to see. Must be very embarrassing for them.
I think it pretty much sums it up at all. I don't understand it at all.
Well, as I said, I don't understand the meaning of it, why they do it. But it's the same thing as if you're in Israel and you walk around like in Waffen SS uniform, you know, it's like people would put you in a psychiatric ward, and that's probably like the same opinion I have about Christians playing black metal. But I think it's a really like smart move too to do it, maybe, because isn't that really smart to like, if we had something that has declared like war on what you believe in, and you take like the essence of what we have and you use it in your own ideology to make like to maybe chop a little bit off our legs, you know what I mean? It's a really smart move. But I don't think they have like a future in that sense. But of course then you go down to the music again. Of course Christian people, they're probably metal fans too, so maybe they like the genre and want to play it. But they could play death metal and maybe other stuff. I don't understand if they play death metal either, maybe, but because I guess 99% of the bands there probably have the same opinions as we do in black metal. But I think it's really pathetic, and it's probably more laughable. The first time I heard it, I was like, what the fuck? You know, I got like more of that attitude, but now it's like, okay, good for you, you know? There's something wrong with you. As I said, like a Jewish guy walking like, you know what I mean? It's like just the same. It's really insane. And it maybe makes you really a pathetic person, maybe, if you do it that way. But it's a good tactical move too, I think, if I want to think a little bit about it.
At the bottom of the black metal genre list, there is an undefined genre. Maybe the darkest genre within black metal.
I wouldn't call Shining a black metal band, no. Even though a lot of people do that, and we're probably more black than all the other bands out there, or at least most of them. The whole idea and concept about Shining is suburban misery, basically. To extract misery. And like, for example, what differs Shining a lot from other bands is that it's not a religious topic I'm extracting in the music and lyrics. What I do is basically take my own experience, and I live a very strange life right now. For the last years, as you probably can see on me, I have been destroying myself. And the whole object and the whole main thing about Shining is to learn people to destroy themselves as well, or force feed them with self-destructive and suicidal imagery and lyrics, you know.
Jag ångrar ingenting, det säger sångaren i black metal-bandet Shining efter helgens konsert i Halmstad. Kritiken har ju varit hård mot konserten där sångaren bland annat skar sig själv med rakblad som sedan delades ut till publiken.
Of course I gave them razor blades. The whole intention of Shining, as said, is to hurt. But I think a lot of people misunderstood Shining, because when I started the band, I came with this foolish idea to call it suicidal black metal, which resulted, of course, in loads of bands using that same thing, you know. The problem is that they completely misinterpreted the vision, you know, because it's not about expressing anxiety or, like, you know, trying to use the music as some kind of therapy bullshit. And it's not about teenage angst or stuff like that. It's about force-feeding people with it. The Shining's aim is to hurt, you know. And that is what loads of these people have misunderstood. And that sucks, in a way. I think it's good that they follow in our footsteps, but it's really bad that they are, you know, misinterpreting it. Because there's so much potential out there. And I would rather see Shining giving birth to bands who want to give birth to future psychopaths, you know? A future breed of people who believe in the destruction of man.
People are not really ready for a satanic prophecy when they haven't even begun to realize that how the world is built, you know. What we present with Watain is a symbol of our beliefs and reality as we see it.
If you died warm, flesh and blood, for I have seen your structure clear, and I know where to stand, right in the heart. There shall place my dagger, not survey my sight, but the thickness of the mysteries.
We all experience bad shit in our lives. At a very young stage in my life, I came to the conclusion that I wanted to explore evil, such as started to destroy myself, both physically and foremost psychologically, where I tried to break all the borders, to fuck myself up and to get to a higher level. Because that's when you do stuff like this, you either die or you rise above, you know? And of course, some periods have been really, really bad for me because of course, if you play with fire, you eventually get burnt, you know? Like the instance we had earlier this week.
Tell me about it.
No, it was just I had been fucking myself up pretty bad, and I just got this complete psychological breakdown, so they had to put me in that hospital when you had to have the correspondence with her.
It has taken a lot of strife and a lot of pain to get where I am now. And it's simply a bit too hard and a bit too time craving and a bit too tough to even start to think, because it is, I know, very comfortable to just let life rule you instead of the other way around. I mean, that's what we are, that's what humans are here for. You know? But, I don't know, seeing the things that I've seen and knowing what I know, it's just, there is really no way back. I mean, people ask, like, yeah, but wouldn't it be nice just to give up all this madness and to, you know, get back to a normal, regular life? Yeah, nice, I don't know. I mean, once I open my eyes, I have no reason to close them. And that is where I am at now.
I left the band. You know, when you get into a situation when your life really gets bad, and when everything is so fucking pitch black that, you know, you can't see a continuation of anything except that it's just going downwards. You don't really care about the others around you, you know. So I just left to Norway, and I didn't have contact with anyone, which resulted in speculations and blah, 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 because, you know, every fucking kiddie who sit with their fucking computers have access to all these message boards and stuff like that. They sit and discuss, you know, these things, and all of a sudden our manager had to post a statement about it, but he never said that I was dead. But for all these mongoloids who don't understand English or who don't understand common sense, they thought that I was dead, you know, or that I faked my death or blah, blah, blah. But it was just a mere question of survival, you know, because I wouldn't have survived if I stayed in Halmstad for many, many reasons. And this, when I found out that the band was gonna do this ceremony show, you know, like a last thing, I talked with Attila. And I told him that he should come up and, like, you know, try to fool the band or something, that he's this vocalist. And they actually fell for it, I think. It was fun. But then it was really bad reactions when they knew that it was me who come out later, you know.
Speaking about Rotain in such a, I don't know, open way is dangerous. I mean, it means it has come to mean everything for me in the end, actually. Everything for me and the other people involved. Because I think we chose at a pretty early stage to you know, stop bullshitting around and stop, you know, just having it as a hobby. Just pretty much after 1 year we realized that, I mean, either we do it or we don't, because at the time when we started out, that was 98, everything was really, I mean, there weren't really any bands anymore that seemed to take things that seriously, and there weren't that many bands that actually consisted of, you know, people that did so much more than just play the music that they liked and the same kind of music that their idols played.
I just had this racer thing that was going out, and I like grabbed him by his arm, and all of a sudden I saw the bones up here, you know, just opening up wide. And it's thrilling. Have you ever seen the bone of yourself, for example? It's a thrilling experience, actually, you know. But this guy, he almost fainted, of course. It was kind of a tragic tour, because we did only like 10 shows and it was 6. I think 6 visits in total to emergency hospitals in different countries, you know. Mostly him, actually. Because one time also we played in Germany, I cut his leg open and I tried to get the flesh out to feed a whore that was standing and looking at him. She looked hungry, so I took this little flesh thing and I put it in her mouth. Of course, the stupid bitch spit it out. I think I met like 3 or 4 women during my entire life that has actually been worth talking to. The rest should just be killed. But we all play with darkness in some way, of course, but I don't know, the level it has come to now is so intense that I'm not really certain if I will manage too long of it, actually. But I try to balance it, you know, because this world can't lose me. I'm the best thing that ever happened to this world, you know. I'm here and people get hurt. And it's wonderful. They reacted on this urine thing for one matter, and we actually lost our entire distribution in Germany and some other country because of Maniac, you know. Thank you. We can't sell our records over there because of that, which is really stupid, you know, because what happened there was that he carved a swastika in his forehead, you know. Okay, that's probably not the wisest decision, you know. And it's probably not. No, it was just heat of the moment, you know. Things happened. It was just his way of having fun, you know. And he came out on stage and beat me up and made this song with me. And the media reacted upon the fact that he had this swastika, you know. And they also asked me, the German media, like this Rock Hard and all these other faggots, just went up to me and just like, fuck, you know. Are you a Nazi band? And I'm just like, man, doesn't matter if you're black or white or green or whatever, you know. You're all equally worthless, you know. The discrimination, you know, it's stupid, you know. If I have a death wish, death is breathing down my neck every passing second, you know. But I'm a friend of him. I do his deeds. So I don't think he will cut me off in the first, you know. I hate life and I hate living. I truly, truly hate life in all its fucking perverse forms. Animals, nature, everything that grows must be put to death, you know. But that's just fantasies, you know. I think mankind is pretty good at fucking ourselves up in a way, you know. But if I can be there and help pushing it a little bit, it's good.
I can tell you this, that if this whore of a world would last even 10 more years, you'll find something heavier than Ondskott. I can tell you that. Something more advanced, something more devilish, I hope. Something more extreme. I don't know if it would be raping babies or if it would be burning priests in local televisions, or I don't know if it would be some kind of genocide which is filmed in the camera.
I would really like to see the world wiped out, you know. Like the black metal scene, there's some really, really good bands, especially here from Sweden. We have like bands like Watain, for example, or Ondskott, for that matter, who actually like put this scene, or whatever they call it, into a new light. It seems like people actually get afraid again, you know, in a way. And I think a lot of that has to do with Watain. I saw them live actually, and I hadn't met Eric in years, but I just saw them when they played here in Norway, and I was amazed by the darkness they actually provoke on stage. Like Watain is for real, you know.
They often refer to us as a band that do things, you know, to the extreme and over the top. And I don't know, to me that's really the only way to do this kind of thing, because there is no halfway of doing this. Either you do it or you don't.
I mean, Christmas music is the most horrible thing on earth, but also like the most beautiful. My favorite album actually through all time is Carolas Jul, but only the A-side. The B-side is like, it gets too much. Children singing and Runa comes in and, you know. But the A-side, I highly recommend it, you know, to anyone, you know, because of the fact that just look at the fucking suicide rates on Christmas Eve, you know. So maybe we'll do a Christmas album one day. Would that be odd?
Then it takes far more than being passionate about a music form to approach that dangerous and abominable thing that gave birth to black metal. And that is the only relevant evolution of black metal as I see it. Bands that, instead of copying what others did before, try instead to dissect it and to understand it in order to bring it even further down. And that is just the opposite of what most, you know, famous bands do these days, because they're just living off the old blueprint, and it doesn't. After 20 years of black metal on this earth, it doesn't really work to do that anymore. You need to take things a step further, and that is what we are doing.
Because there's something really wicked going on, which I think many of the Swedish people are responsible for, and thank God for that.
Black metal has inside of it an incredible potential. It's a primal magical force to me that it was evoked by these early bands and brought into the world. And this kind of force is not so easily dealt with. It demands that you understand it, and it demands that, like I said, it demands much more than being passionate about the music, because music has always been just one side of the black metal coin, while magic and spirituality and religion and Satanism is the other side, which is at least equally important if you really want to do something lasting.
But you're going to a peak, and especially, I always say to people, use a condom, definitely. Stop having so many children. We have to really stop this, because if it comes to 12 to 13 billion people living on this planet, you're not going to have anything but people. And people are okay to a certain degree, but when it comes, you know that too many people is the most disgusting and terrible thing that is in the world. You see cities that are so big now that they don't even have clean water. They have to shit in the street, you know, because everything is going totally out of control. And I don't know. I think it's. I don't think you should overestimate yourself as a human being. That, I think, is my message to everybody. Don't think that you're so fucking special just because you can read or write or something like that and have a conversation. You are probably one of the most parasitic beings that exist in the world, sucking life out of everything that you come near all the time.
I really believe that in real life history, and I think people should read more history to be aware of the past, because people tend to make the same fucking stupid mistakes over and over again.
A human being is an evil entity in a way, but in a bad way, you know, because it's life.
The way these sick human beings behave is that no one wants to see a car crash, apparently. But as soon as it happens and you see the blood and these guts and limbs are all over the fucking street, they can't stop fucking looking because they have this morbid curiosity.
If people want to pay respect to black metal, they should live by what it wants from them. I mean, being into black metal and playing black metal demands a lot, and the first thing it demands is for people to think about what the fuck they are doing, because I look at the black metal scene and I see a bunch of visionless sheep, you know? And it's a bit sad when it's supposed to, when they even proclaim to advocate the opposite of that. So think before you act.
Black metal is not for everybody.
It echoes in the wind of days. The wind disagrees. For fires are slow. Who to die in this mighty burden? The calm before the storm.
Do you have a death wish yourself?